Good evening, everybody. Calling this Village Board of Trustees meeting to order July 13, 2026 at 7:03 p.m. Clerk, if we could do a call to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Alfano. Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Constados. Here. Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar.
Here.
Trustee Sabri.
Here.
President Patrick.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which
which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, do I have any amendments to the agenda? Trustee Kumar?
I'd like to make an amendment to table the resolution of the Village of Villa Park regarding approval, confidentiality, release, and retention of certain executive session minutes and recordings. I'd like to table it to August, same time, as the clerk is not, the clerk is not present at this point, and it doesn't make sense to kind of address this issue. Can we just table it, and that way also, we don't have a whole room full of people waiting for us to come out of executive session?
Okay, do I have a motion to table? Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Trustee Constados? Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward with public comments on agenda items. The opportunity to speak before the village board is provided for residents who wish to comment on agenda item or a village matter. The board values public input and appreciates respectful participation. To ensure fairness and allow all who wish to speak an opportunity to do so, public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Each individual may speak only once during this portion of the meeting. Public comment is not a question and answer session, and the board will not engage in dialogue during this time. Questions or concerns raised may be addressed by staff or elected officials outside of this meeting. Respect for the duties of the village board and for the democratic process will be adhered to in this regard. Civility and a sense of decorum will strictly be followed. All comments must be directed to the village board and not to individual trustees, staff, or members of the audience. Threats and personal attacks will not be permitted, nor will disrespectful remarks, interruptions, applauding, or other disruptive behavior be permitted from non-speakers. These standards ensure that our meetings remain orderly, efficient, and respectful for everyone in attendance. Thank you for your cooperation. Clerk, do we have anybody on the agenda for public comments on agenda items?
James Bergman.
Hello, my name's Jim Bergman. I live at 356 South Michigan Avenue. I want to speak to Ordinance 11A. I live on the 300 block of South Michigan Avenue, and we've observed rats on our block, even in our yard. I know that there have been some situations in the neighborhood where cleanup has to be done or it was supposed to be done. And based on my experience, it's always been that compliance has to do with what you can observe from the street or from the sidewalk, when in fact sometimes the problem is deeper in the yard. So I guess there's one of the comments I have is I didn't know if the ordinance would include the capability of performing some sort of aerial surveillance or look at the yard to see what's going on beyond the sidewalk, beyond the street view. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ethan Coleman.
My apologies, I thought it was attendance.
That's okay. Christine Murphy.
Good evening, Christine Murphy, 523 South Yale in, obviously, Villa Park. Well, there's 7 issues on this agenda that I think are inappropriate, and I would recommend the board vote no on. I'd like to focus tonight on 13E, a resolution authorizing the president to approve signatories for financials. In a council manager form of government, the council president should not be an active signer on municipal accounts. Best practices required strict separation of powers where elected officials focus on policymaking while professional staff manage daily administration, including the disbursement of funds. As of last Saturday, based on transparency that's being touted by everyone making an attempt to do transparency, effective Saturday, the 3 names on the agenda were Kevin Patrick, Mike Rivas, and Susie Micah. As of today, those names have been removed from the agenda and buried in the packet. From my perspective, again, the village president should not have authority over any of our accounts. And based on a post on social media yesterday by our village president, which from my perspective was executive session information that should, based on personnel reasons, should not have been posted, if in fact it's true, and we have 2 people that are being proposed as signatures on this resolution, I would suggest that none of the 3 of them be approved and the board go back to the drawing board and come back to a better alternative. I would also question, without asking for an answer, what attorney that's competent and ethical would approve to put this on our village agenda.
Thank you. Next, please.
Cheryl Tucker.
Good evening. There is so much on this agenda I needed to address, but 3 minutes is all I have. So I'm just going to highlight some questions I expect the board to answer later. What staff event did we pay $3,400 for? And then I noticed the fire truck E82 had to be towed. Is there a reason there's a problem with it? The police is having 2 line items for the executive management program for $2,800 each. TIF 5 parking lot needing to be reconfigured for $5,983, and 3 different listings for stone for CA6 and CA7 from $7,000 to $12,000. Now let me get to the resolutions. Why I'm going to group 13F and 13G together, because we didn't have these 2 special meetings called on June 29th and July 26th, there wouldn't be a need for the resolutions for a remote attendance, which one trustee had to cut his vacation short, and another one, we had to listen to him rant and rave and have a temper tantrum 2 times because he didn't get his way. So we think it's a good idea to be disrespectful to other board members at that meeting. Then, our president, who thought it was a good idea to call the second special meeting 3 days before the holiday to discuss getting rid of another village manager, but was more concerned about being able to access the auto records of June 29th special meeting than the people he represented. The reason I say that is because the president is quick to use his gavel when the residents go over 3 minutes, but he did not bother to use his gavel to hold a respectful and orderly meeting instead of allowing a trustee 2 times to speak without allowing other trustees a chance to speak. Also, there was no discussion, just one agenda to go into special session. Anything the president couldn't matter, but the residents had to wait 2 hours for the board to decide. Everything on that special meeting could be tabled for the regular meeting tonight. So, back to my point, why do we have to make a resolution for 13F and 13G if the board didn't need to have those special meetings in the first place? And now we're paying illegal fees for 13G to happen. The only good thing that did happen on July 6th meeting is we will have a COW meeting to tell us what the village clerk does so we can better understand why the residents should vote to give the village president the ability to appoint the village clerk instead of our selecting it ourselves.
Thank you. Next, please.
That's it.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on agenda items, public comments on agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move forward with public comments on non-agenda items. Clerk?
Joe Arnold.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Arnold. I live on 133 North Ardmore. And basically what I'm here for is 40 years ago, we redid Ardmore, which is the section I live at is St. Charles Road to the train tracks. And we had a lot of members going out to all the homes. We got petitions and finally got our 3 lanes. We didn't want the 4 lanes, and we got our 3 lanes. And now, 40 years later, we're reconstructing Ardmore again, and of course, I went with one of the other residents. We went up and down the whole street, gathered signatures, and I know there's all these things about bike paths, and one of the configurations was actually 2 lanes with bike lanes, which is actually a step backwards. I think the 3-lane option is probably the best there is. We can get out of our driveways. Adding a bike lane in between there or putting it on a sidewalk, there wasn't one resident that I talked to that wanted that. So we all wanted it to be existing the way it is. Otherwise, a lot of trees would be removed. And everybody was happy with the 3 lanes, just as it is now. And we're not that concerned about bike paths. There aren't that many bikes really going down Ardmore. We watch all the time. And we have bigger problems with electric bikes. And you have a way to address those, because I even looked at our ordinances on that. It's so vague, I can't keep track of. Actually, I don't even know if the police can tell which one to stop and which not, and I don't even think they even bother, because there's signs even on the Prairie Path, no motorized vehicles, and they're running up and down there during the concerts. And nobody stopped anybody. Even gasoline-powered bicycles were going there. So anyway, we sent that up, we brought it to the village manager's office, and we also gave it to Public Works. We had 55 signatures of residents on that section that would like it to stay the same. I know it's a little early, but we like to get it done early so that things don't change later on. I know this isn't going to happen until next year anyway, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Gustis.
Do you have the physical copy of this one?
Close. My name is Brian Gates. I live at 106 North Charles Avenue. The reason I'm here today is to, more than anything, kind of spread awareness on something that happened. Today I received a notification, a violation notice for replacing the vanity in my home. Okay. Here's the letter I received from the town. In bold, it says, a permit is required for a vanity replacement. Okay, fair. I have no issue with that. The issue I have is I didn't replace my vanity. I did, however, dispose of a vanity. Okay? So I'm here to kind of figure out how evidence like this is being compiled and what assumptions the town is making. But I will read the first sentence in the notice. The first few words are pretty important. You are hereby notified that on 7/8/26 you violated. I could go on and on and on. But I'm trying to figure out why there was no request for clarification, a request to come in and do an inspection of my property. I have major privacy concerns. Major. I'm pissed, right, that this is how this was handled, right? A lot of assumptions. I think we all make assumptions, but... So I'm kind of taken back on how I should figure this out, but for today, let's just say that today is my step 1 of this awareness, okay? And I'm hoping that there's no need for multiple steps, like sharing this throughout the community, sharing this throughout the businesses, saying this is how you are valued as a citizen of Villa Park. I do not want to do that. I hope tonight is more than enough of that, right? So that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you.
Christine Murphy?
Christine Murphy, 523 South Yale. After a one-week pause that was requested by Kevin Patrick, I would just like to pick up on last week's agenda under new business, item number B, the resolution requiring the submission of a binding referendum to the electors, which again has to do with the appointment versus the election of the village clerk. I personally take offense to this board making an attempt to diminish my rights to vote. I believe it's totally inappropriate, and there are specific reasons behind it, I'm sure, but I would highly encourage the board to vote no and continue to promote the democratic process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Cheryl Tucker?
I'm just here to basically encourage the residents, if they weren't aware yet, to put in your opinion on our Ardmore obstruction of the bike path. You have until the 19th to give them suggestions on what you think. And the other is, if you have not voted yet for the new name for the park, please bother to do that. You've got till the end of the month to do that. We've got a new park that we're going to have new amenities put into, that you're going to be paying for, so you have the right to choose what the name of the park's going to be. So please go on the website and vote for the name of the park on Villa and Julia, right? That's where it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
That's all.
Is there anybody in attendance tonight that would like to speak on public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and move forward to proclamations. Tonight we have a proclamation designated of July 2026 as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the Village of Villa Park, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, while alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by promoting space for popular sports, playgrounds, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the Village of Villa Park recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Patrick, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim July 2026 as Park and Recreation Month in the Village of Villa Park, and encourages all residents to enjoy the benefits of our parks and recreation resources. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the Village of Villa Park to be affixed this 13th day of July 2026. Okay, moving forward, we have a presentation, 7A on our agenda tonight, the winners of the Happy 250th Poster Contest presented by our very own Fun Commission.
well said, Mary.
I guess that's not really me, but whatever. So, we had ran a contest for posters, and you see a few of them here. These are ones that are not winners and ones that we can give to the folks if they want them back. And the other ones, if you did make a poster, the ones that are not the winners, and it's not here, we left them at the VPRC. So if you want to go get it, you can drive over there and look through them and pick it up. And well, they'll be there till, I think, the 25th of July. And then they'll be in my hands, and who knows. But so what we're going to do now is tell you who won. And we had 3 age groups. We had 1 through 7, 8 through 14, and 15 through 250. And we got a winner for each one of them. So the first winner, we're going to start with Ellie Iwansky. You want to come up? We want to thank you for your poster because it's really neat. What made you want to do an eagle? Remember? Why not? She's shy. You like birds. You got a parrot in your arm. Okay. Well, congratulations. You voted you this winner for that age group. And here's your $50 gift card, the Visa gift card, and we hope you try and find a place in Villa Park to use that. And here is a little button that you can either pin on yourself when you're proud walking or put on the mirror when you get home. It says, you won.
All right.
Here's the second age group winner, and that's Alyssa Hernandez. She's here. Alyssa's here. She was actually our very first poster that we got back after, and this is a unique poster. Not a lot of red, white, and blue in this, but a lot of melting pot nests. How did you get this idea for the anime?
I felt as if diversity was a big part of America.
Very good, yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. Well, we really love this. That's not for you. And this is your button. You can wear that to school or just put it on your mirror or something. Do you guys want to hold that and let her get a picture?
He's like, no, I don't get the card. I don't want to hold it.
That's something to
I don't have to read this, right? Correct. Okay.
Here's our last winner, and this is my friend, and I'm just going to read her last name because it's a goodie. It's Lori, and it's Veneziano Piano. I said it millions of times. Where is she? Oh, here, come on up. Beautiful color. And Lori is not only a beautiful artist, but she's a docent at the museum. So she knows a heck of a lot about Captain Midnight and a lot of Villa Park history as well. So I'm really happy to give her this prize. And here is your prize. Did I give you guys two? Did I give you two? One. You just got one. Let's go. Here it is. It's right here. Let me talk. Okay, here's your $50.
Thank you very much.
I'll keep you up here for a while. Here's your button. You can do whatever you want to wear that while you're working one Saturday.
I absolutely will.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And celebrating the 250th and putting it and being able for me to express myself, which I haven't been able to do on hand for years. And so this town has touched me so much in many, many ways. And I go home and memorize facts about them.
from the Fun Commission, we are one commissioner down, so if anyone wants to join in this joyfulness that we're having here, fill out an application on the website, and we'd love to have your services with us too. So thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mary, and Fun Commission. Appreciate that. Thank you, and congratulations to all the winners. We're going to move forward with this evening. We do not have any appointments to the commission, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with the consent agenda. 9A, a bill listing for the weeks of June 22nd, 2026, in the amount of $32,853.16. June 29th, 2026, in the amount of $733,385.72, and July 6th, 2026, in the amount of $40,128.33. 9B, the minutes from the Village Board of Trustees meeting held on June 22nd, 2026. 9C, the minutes from the Village Board of Trustees meeting held on June 29th, 2026. 9D, a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving final change order number 02 to the contract with Davis Concrete Construction Co. of Moni, Illinois, for the construction of the 2025 sidewalk improvements for a net deduction in the amount of $10,214.44. And then we have 9E, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Villa Park and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Council 31, AFL-CIO, Local 964, in order to weekend rounds and first to be called for the wet weather flow treatment facility. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda? Trustee Constados?
I'd like to actually, can I make a motion to remove B and C and E for discussion?
These,
I'm sorry, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda first and then remove items?
Sure. Okay, then I will motion.
okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Trustee Sabri. Okay. And now we should, yep, go ahead.
Now I would like to make a motion, please, to remove B, C, and E.
B, C, and E.
B and C being that they're not attached for us to review, and E because I just have a couple questions.
Okay, so we don't need to make a motion to remove those items, we're just going to do that. And so we will talk about those immediately after we approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, Trustee Costados, 9B, you said 9B, C, and
E.
E. Go for it.
We don't have the minutes in our packet for B and C, so I'm not willing to vote on something I can't review and read in case there's any changes. As far as E goes, I just have a question. I don't see where it states the costs for that, and I just wanted to know what the cost is, and is the cost budgeted in our 2026 budget, or is it an additional cost?
Manager Rivas, I'll ask you if you can respond to the last about item E.
Absolutely, thank you, sir. I'm going to actually redirect this to Public Works Director Rich Salerno, who can then answer the question for you.
Thank you, Manager Rivas. In regards to the item, the MOU between the village and the ASME union, there's a zero net change in dollars to this agreement. So currently what we pay the employees to come in and do weekend rounds, there will not be a change whatsoever. It's just better for programming purposes, both for their time as well as our time for having staff covered for future operations.
Okay, so it's already budgeted for?
It is currently budgeted, and yes, and there will be no additional dollars associated with this MOU.
Perfect, thank you so very much. That's the only question I had on that one.
Since we do not have the minutes for 9B or C, I'd like to entertain a motion to table until our next state of
I'll
meeting.
make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion to table 9B and C to our next meeting. Do I have a second? Trustee Kumar. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving along to item 10A, ordinance for first reading. Oh, I apologize. We did not vote on 9E, the resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Villa Park and the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, Council 31, AFL, CAO, Local 964, in order to weekend rounds and first to be called for the wet weather flow treatment facility. Do I have a motion for that item?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
I will second that.
Trustee Sabri, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move forward. Item 10A, ordinance for the first reading. An ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Section 14-208, 14-208.5, and 14-209 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding parking restrictions on Villa Avenue. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Plan Commission recommends amending the Village Code to change the parking restrictions on Villa Avenue. This change is designed to better accommodate the businesses currently on Villa Avenue. This is a first reading.
Okay, this is a first reading. Is there any discussion? Trustee Kumar?
I would like to make a motion, first of all, to waive the first reading on this one.
Okay, I have a motion to waive the first reading on item 10A. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, I have Trustee Kumar, motion to waive. Trustee Sabri, a second. Just to clarify, to waive and approve, is that
Yes.
part of your motion? Okay, and seconded by Trustee Sabri, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, discussion.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to assume, but ask, are you asking to waive it so that way we can implement it right away for the businesses?
Yes.
Okay. That was my only question.
Is there any other discussion? Trustee Cordova?
I'm assuming that all the businesses were able to weigh in on this conversation and everyone came to an agreement. I know that some didn't want the 2 hours, some didn't want as many 30-minute, but I just want to ensure that everyone had an opportunity. And I see a couple of folks, yeah, if that's, that's my question.
Manager Rivas?
Thank you, sir. I'm going to bring up Assistant Village Manager Mike Guerra, who can shed some light on that question.
Thank you, sir. Yes, this was discussed, I believe, 3 times at the Plan Commission meeting, where they did hear from some business owners. They made a recommendation, they heard from others, so they rescinded that recommendation and then heard from a few others and discussed it at length. This was kind of their decision, that they thought this was kind of maybe a happy medium for all with the 2 hours. A down Villa for the entire length from Central up to St. Charles, except having 3 locations on the southeast corner from like the Illinois Prairie Path north for 30 minutes to try to accommodate some of the higher turnover for those businesses in that location. So I don't know if we heard from every single one, but several business owners did come in, did send emails, and did discuss this with the Plan Commission.
Trustee Constados?
My only question then is, we can also still utilize the parking by the museum still, correct? That has no time limits for anybody?
Correct. All the streets of, like, by Cortese, we do have a small parking lot behind the museum and more that's owned by the village, and then the museum lot have no time restrictions. Same as the parking off of off of the east and west side off of Villa on Park Avenue. That right-of-way parking has no time limits other than no overnight parking.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other discussion? Trustee Kumar?
I also, well, my discussion would be on the actual amendment, but anyway, enforcement is a concern. I think it doesn't matter what restrictions we put where if we don't enforce it. So I think we need to start thinking about enforcing. I have heard from many of the business owners that that is an issue in that corner, and they want enforcement to happen in one way or form. I think we need a regular schedule for enforcement on that particular corner, especially the 30-minute slots. I think will be something that we need to think about, as well as the 2 hour.
Trustee Constados.
Thanks. I understand the enforcement. However, we did get an email from Chief Kubish letting us know that we do have some officers that are getting ready to retire, and that he is asking for permission to start looking for replacements. So I know that we need to enforce that. However, we also need the staff of officers in order to be able to do so. So I'd like to ask Chief Kubish if maybe he could weigh in on that from his perspective on his staff that he has currently and what we may or may not be able to do.
Manager Rivas.
I would defer to Chief Kubish on this one, sir.
If you could just give me 1 second, please.
Thank you.
So regarding the enforcement on Villa, we do have an extra watch set up there, and there is routine patrols with our community service officers for enforcement there. There was some question about the legality of the system we were using at one point, so there was a lack of enforcement for out there, but as far as I'm aware, by the Journal, that we have the Director of Patrol, which I've sent you before about the Ava Rec Center, they have been enforcing the ordinances there. We actually had a time where we were issuing citations, and one of the business owners on the opposite side of the street was paying the tickets for the people that were receiving tickets. So I'm actually glad that you motioned it to first and final, so we can finally have solidification of what the ordinance is going to be, so we can start to enforce that. That's pretty much as far as the parking enforcement goes. As far as the memorandum of request that I sent out, I received a response from 3 trustees. And the issue that comes into play is that we have 2 retirements planned for next year. One actually just turned in his paperwork today, which I sent you each a copy of. And yes, we definitely have a staffing problem based on the amount of people we have today versus 10 years ago. We had 43, today we have 38, so we're down about 6 or 7 officers, and the issue is the training aspect. It takes 8 to 10 to 11 months to train somebody, if in fact they work out. If they don't work out, then we start all over again, which is why I submitted the memo to try to get a consent agenda, or consensus, to hire 2 in advance. And I know that the budget is an issue, which it should be, but if we look at the fact of to pay a new officer, I believe they're at about $40 an hour versus a tenured officer at $65 an hour, and overtime is $94 an hour. So my request was that we could start the process and get these people hired and get them in the academy, which starts in August, which is why there was an urgency in there. And if I could get that done, that'd be great. And also to the gentleman that stood up before about the enforcement on Ardmore, I mean, the issue we have is we have enough officers to handle the street. We have enough officers to handle investigations. Each of our investigators are handling between 80 to 100 cases. There's 4 of them. On a daily basis, I'm not going to get into numbers because that would be inappropriate, but we have enough officers to handle the calls, the accidents, the domestics, the general calls. But years before, we had enough officers to handle specific enforcement. If we had a individual call from such and such location, I know we had some issues up at Ellsworth in Vermont right now, which we're dealing with. I mean, when you have a patrol officer up there, there's other calls that come into play, so that officer might, A, not get there today, B, might only be there for 3 minutes and has to leave. So I think it's very important that people realize is that it's not necessarily that the police aren't doing anything, it's that the police are understaffed. And I guess it would be kind of like I can invite everybody for dinner and you can have 1 piece of meat, you can't have any dessert, you can't have anything to eat, you can't use a plate. We can only do with what we have. And we had an unexpected retirement for a gentleman that moved to Tennessee, so that shorts our staff. Additionally, we had the parental leave, which shorts our staff, and we have officers that are being ordered in continually to do the work, well, at which point causes burnout. So I have every intention next year of this upcoming budget year to request more officers to try to get us to where we used to be. I've had conversations with the finance manager, I've had conversations with the manager, And I think that if the people of Villa Park want to see this type of enforcement, we need to come through and provide the ability to have units like, we call it a POP unit. It's basically a unit that deals with neighborhood problems, whether it's speeding, whether it's issues with the neighbors, whether it's quote-unquote gang activity, issues like that. I mean, we need resources that we can actually dedicate to these problems. And right now, we just don't have the staffing to do that. And even with the 2 new hires, if you guys approve them, I mean, you're talking next March, May, till they're actually on the street, if they make it. So I've gotten several phone calls about the fireworks. I get it. I have the fireworks in my neighborhood as well. It drives me crazy. But when you're dealing with a very short staff and a large amount of calls, we don't have specialty units to respond to all the calls. And they might show up and tell them to shut it down. Well, there's 4 other calls holding. So I would hope that if we could find the money to hire more officers to make proactive units, we used to have a traffic unit. So you've got a traffic complaint on your block, we'll have an officer sit there all day long and write all the tickets that he can write. I mean, so going back to your original question, yes, that is why I'm asking for the ability to hire 2 officers in advance, so that by the time these other officers retire, there's not that gap. And that gap causes overtime, which causes me money as a resident, as well as everyone else in the room.
Correct, and that's why I was asking. I do plan on mentioning that under new business, just so everybody knows. Thank you.
But we do the best we can on what we have. And,
Absolutely.
When there's a slow day, we take enforcement action. If we're busy, then obviously we have to prioritize things.
And
E-bike situation.
And even in replacing the 2 that are leaving, even if we were to replace those 2, we would still just be even. We would still be behind the
Absolutely.
staff.
I think it was 2015, we had 43 officers, and today we have 38.
Thank you.
And that basically just manages the bare minimum. And that doesn't count if somebody trips, hurts themselves, a pregnancy, whatever the case might be. So, yes, correct.
Thank you.
Trustee Kumar.
Yeah, and I just, you did say that you already have regular enforcement planned out on Villa Avenue, correct? And that's what I was trying to make sure of. And so I'm happy to hear that there is a schedule, there is something that you do. It is something that will help the businesses, especially the 2-hour, the 30-minute, like, parking seems to be an issue for people over there. So that 30-minute, those 3 slots, I think I've heard is going to help some of them. The 2 hours are going to help others who need, 2 to 3 hours of
Yes.
time to get their stuff
Yeah,
done.
we do have set, just like the train lot, and additionally, you might see myself and my 2 deputy chiefs, because we've been out enforcing traffic laws based on the complaints that come in from the public.
And that's good. And also, I have a question, and I'm glad you came to us with this kind of discussion. Is it difficult to enforce like different time slots on the same road, or do you think that's not going to pose an issue there?
Can you, I don't.
Yeah, because there's those 30-minute slots and there's a bunch of 2-hour slots. Does that make it more difficult for the police to enforce, or?
Well,
it's fine?
actually, what we have is, it's kind of unique, is we have a system in the cars that it'll drive down a certain area and the cameras will record the license plates. And then 30 minutes, 2 hours later, when they drive back, it'll basically tell you if the vehicle is still at that location. If it is, then it'll give the ability to issue a citation. So it's automated.
Oh, that's very good to hear.
Because when we chalk cars, if you remember correctly, we got sued for that because we were chalking the tires of the car. So this is an automated system.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, so we do have a motion to waive the first reading and approve by trustee Kumar and seconded by trustee Sabri. Before we move forward with that vote, I would say afterwards that vote, I'd like to entertain a motion to move forward with the 2 police officer employees to be placed on our next village board agenda.
Definitely make that motion.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with the waiving of the first reading for 9A and approval.
Excuse me? I had written down to speak on an agenda item, and some of the clear, and that was on the parking. I think it's in the record.
Unfortunately, the time for public comment has passed. The opportunity was earlier there. However, if you would like to, however, if you would like to discuss afterwards, we could talk about that. So, but we've got to move on with our meeting. I apologize. So we do have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so 9A passes.
10A.
I believe, 10A, sorry about that. Trustee Constados?
Yes. I would like to make a motion to give Chief Kubish direction to start seeking 2 officers to take place of the 2 that are retiring.
That would have to be placed on an agenda. So it would have to be placed to our
Oh,
next meeting agenda.
Okay, well, then I guess to place it on the next agenda.
Technically, we should wait till the new business section of the agenda to address that.
Okay, I was planning on doing that, it's on my list.
My fault.
That's okay?
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and move forward with item 10B, ordinance for a first reading, an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending sections 14-206 and 14-207 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding parking restrictions on Terrace Street. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Plan Commission recommends amending the village code to allow overnight parking on Terrace Street. This change is designed to accommodate the loss of parking spaces due to alley construction adjacent to the residences on the north side of Terrace. This is a first reading.
Okay, is there any discussion? Trustee Constados?
Thank you. My only thing would be is, if I could suggest that we maybe put a sign that states that the parking, once it's changed, is strictly for residents that live there. Otherwise, I'm afraid that like other people may take advantage of it. So that would be my only request, is maybe to add a sign stating resident parking only as a suggestion.
Manager Rivas?
We can put a sign there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Trustee Cordova?
If, again, about the enforcement on this, if we have one that says it's for residents only, are we gonna require stickers, or how would we govern that?
The sign is going to be suggestive. If we were to enforce it, we'd have to pass a resolution to do that. and We'd
Yeah.
have to go through that process. It would be suggestive. I think we can send mailers out if we find, let's say, an out-of-town car that obviously should not be there. Maybe we can put, a note on it, something like that, as a reminder, because we're still talking about overnight parking. So it's easy to track overnight as opposed to day, cars coming day and night. But overnight is easy to follow and to follow up on.
Trustee Kumar?
Is this a temporary measure that we're doing, or is it considered a permanent measure?
Temporary, right, is it?
This would be for permanent.
This one?
This would be a permanent measure, as due to the alley construction, 12 parking stalls were lost behind the residence. And so this was the solution and recommendation of the Plan Commission to accommodate for those lost parking stalls.
So this is not a temporary measure, there's a permanent measure to move that to permanent parking. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, those multifamilies there, staff met with all the owners except for one. We could not, reached out several times, they never returned. And talking with our director, Nolan here, like all those are like non-conforming, existing non-conforming, so they were limited on parking stalls. With the construction of the alley, 2 of the buildings lost half of their parking, and we could not reconfigure their parking lots to accommodate. So it was brought to the Plan Commission for recommendations on how to handle that. They viewed a few options. With their recommendation was to provide on-street on that south side, with the street being wide enough to accommodate two-way traffic, emergency traffic, but to allow for overnight parking exemption in that location only. That's why it's only that one block in front of those apartment buildings.
Is there any other discussion? Trustee Kozar?
To make a motion to waive and approve. Waive the second reading, second reading and approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion to waive and approve the second reading, or, first reading, right? First reading? Waive the first. To waive the first and approve, made by trustee Kozar and seconded by trustee Constados. Is there any discussion? Trustee Cordova?
As much as I like this, I'm going to vote no because I'm firmly against waiving first readings for vote. So the first one, I get it, I understand, it feels like we didn't hear from everyone. Someone had something to say, but we weren't allowed to listen. And so same reason for this one, just so that we avoid that.
Trustee Constados?
Just to kind of comment on that, from what I'm hearing from staff, we reached out a few times and one person just didn't get back to us. So, I mean, the opportunity was there. So I'd like to make sure that this just moves along so we can go ahead and get the situation taken care of. So I will vote yes.
Okay. Attorney Morton?
Trustee Constados, you had suggested a change to the ordinance to require signage. That's not something that's in here now, and the provisions of the ordinance authorize the village manager to install and replace appropriate signage as required by the ordinance. So if that's something that you and the majority of the board would like to have incorporated, I would suggest an amendment.
Okay. So do I make that amendment, or does trustee Kozar, make that amendment?
You can make the amendment.
Okay, then I'd like to motion to make the amendment,
I'll second.
waive the first, and add on a sign that states the parking is for residents only. And to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion to waive the first and approve with the amendment to add the signage for parking for residents only.
Yes.
Just need to vote on the discussion and then vote on the amendment.
So is there any discussion on that? Okay, we will take a roll call vote for the amendment.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
No.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
No.
Trustee Sabri?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have a motion to waive and approve.
Trustee Sabri?
Oh, was that on the, I thought that was,
We had to vote on the amendment. Now we are,
okay,
If
okay.
I can clarify, if I may clarify, the first vote was on trustee Constados' amendment to add the
Okay,
residential
then
only parking.
I am sorry, but I did not vote the way I would have, so it's just a fact. But I'm just motioning no on the first reading at this point. I am not motioning no on the signage. That is a good idea, and I believe we do need signage if we have this idea go through at one point.
If I may ask trustee Sabri a question, trustee, was that also your intention, was just to vote against the first reading waiver?
Yes, my vote was no as well on the first reading, but the signage, we should have yes on it, yeah.
Then in my opinion, we don't need to redo that amendment motion because the first reading waiver is going to fail on the next vote.
Okay.
And it can just be revised for the next meeting.
okay, so we will go ahead and move forward with item 10C.
Still need a
No,
vote
we still have to vote.
Still need a vote on 10B.
Okay. Roll call vote on 10B, please.
Trustee Sabri?
No.
Trustee Kumar?
No.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move along to 10C. Okay, 10C, ordinance for first reading, an ordinance approving the final plat of subdivision commonly known as Walters Yale Re-subdivision, 150 West Sydney Avenue. Manager Rivas?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Plan Commission is recommending approval of the final plat of subdivision for Walters Yale re-subdivision. The re-subdivision would subdivide 4 evenly distributed lots into 3 larger lots. The 2 southern lots are planned for new homes, while the northernmost lot would remain for stormwater concerns. All lots are under common ownership.
Is there any discussion? Okay, Seeing none, we're going to move forward with 11A, ordinance for a second reading. An ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, amending Chapter 15 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding nuisances. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance would codify regulations concerning the removal of nuisance trees and vegetation, rodent-related nuisances, and garbage-related nuisances. It would amend Chapter 15 of the Villa Park Municipal Code to authorize the village to address nuisances on private property after giving property owners due notice and opportunity. A first reading was held on June 22nd, 2026. This is a second reading.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second?
Trustee Kozar. Okay, is there any discussion? Trustee Kumar.
I just want to, I actually called in, an old neighbor of mine had an issue with rats in their backyard. And I do want to thank staff for getting out there and at least talking to them about the issue. And that's basically, I want to give them a thank you. I've been sending messages back and forth, and I do see the heat map that we're working on, and we are trying to address this issue. There was an idea that came up about aerial surveillance of the backyard. I know we're actually going out there and looking at the backyard, but if that is a possibility of us using, and we should consider that as a possibility that came out from a resident, I think it's somewhat of a good idea. And this is this is a problem that is covering a lot of houses in Villa Park, many next to the rail station, and I have sent messages to staff to kind of consider working with the railroad as well on this particular aspect to see how they can address some of this or help us address some of it. I know they were already instrumental in helping the fire department work on some of these issues when they were actually cleaning up the brush. So I do know we're really working hard on that this particular item, and staff is working hard on it. Yeah, that's it.
Trustee Kumar, just to clarify, when you speak of aerial surveillance, are you talking about drone technology, helicopter, what, like?
Well, definitely not a helicopter, because I don't think that's in our budget, but at this point. But I would say that, if drone technology is usable in some way, that might be a possibility for us to look at a backyard or stuff. If that is easier, that's a possibility. It's something just to look at. I'm not saying that's the most efficient, and I will let our community development and our manager kind of actually assess the possibilities, because they know best what's possible at this point.
So just for reference, I'm a licensed FAA Part 107 drone pilot, and drones come with a cost themselves. The licensure, the license that comes with that also protects all parties involved as well. So there comes a cost with hiring a drone pilot to do this surveillance as well. So I just hope that we take that in perspective. So if your ask of the staff is to research how much drones cost and/or how much a drone pilot would cost to do those assessments, we can do that.
I think it's a good idea to research it, and we'll decide based on the cost, obviously, if it is an effective strategy. But it's no harm in looking at it. I do know that staff in community development has a lot on their plate. So it's something to definitely look at, yeah.
If I may, the ordinance that you'll be hoping to approve here momentarily, hopefully, that's going to give staff more explicit authority to deal with basically the non-response properties in the community. So whenever we have a rodent issue, we reach out to the property owner. Most of those property owners actually get back to us, try to comply. We have services we can offer and charge at a very reasonable rate. But this ordinance will help with the people that choose not to reply. And so I don't know if the drone aerial approach is going to be necessary, or even if it would be legal. I think our attorney can speak to that piece of it, but this ordinance will be very instrumental, and staff is prepared to hand deliver notices to dozens of properties in the coming week as soon as this ordinance is approved.
You still have the floor.
Oh, yeah, and I admire that, proactiveness in this. I think the drone technology was spoken on this issue. It is something that maybe we can use somewhere else if you think it's effective with the properties that are compliant necessarily, if they would be willing, if it makes it easier to look for the burrows. I don't know. I do know they were looking for the burrows in a backyard to see where these rat burrows are, because that's kind of, and a lot of times it's in the neighbor or the other neighbor. It's not, like, the rats aren't necessarily where you cite them. So that's a big problem in general, where it's coming from, kind of mapping, and that mapping is really helpful, I know, and I'm very glad you guys are working on that. And I'm for approval of this particular ordinance for sure, because it's a problem that's across the board, and you can't solve the problem just by looking at one property.
Attorney Morton.
If I could just address the legal aspect of it, it's a good idea to use drone footage to be able to access places that you couldn't otherwise access, but the fact that you couldn't otherwise access them means that there's an expectation of privacy there. And so there are strict rules that are ever-changing with court decisions, but there are strict rules on how you can use that sort of technology to look into people's backyards and other places that, if those places wouldn't otherwise be accessible from open public view. So it is a specific case-by-case analysis that often would still need probable cause to be able to use that drone technology, but that could be, if you're not getting access to the property and you have a warrant to do so, or you have some emergency situation and you can use the drone to see it, that might be possible. But it's something that I would caution the board on adding any policy to allow that directly, given the privacy concerns.
Trustee Kozar.
Yeah, I'm not on board with deep ender drones coming into our backyards. I mean, that's just nuts. No way. So if you have a warrant, you can come into our backyards, but just sending out little search drones, that's, no way do we want to live in a community like that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Trustee Costados, seconded by Trustee Kozar. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and move along to item 12A, ordinances. An ordinance granting a variation from section 9.2.2 to install a fence in a front yard, 405 South Villa Avenue. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval of ZBA 26-07, a request for variations from section 9.2.2 to allow a 6-foot high fence within a front yard located 46.40 feet in front of the principal structure with 0% transparency at the property commonly known as 405 South Villa, subject to conditions.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second?
All right, Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Seeing none, is there discussion?
Can we know what the subject to conditions are, what we're discussing here?
Can you clarify your?
Yeah, what, it's saying subject to conditions, what are the conditions we are putting on this?
Attorney Morton?
Trustee, if you look at the ordinance, it is section 4 has the conditions on this ordinance.
Okay.
Page 3.
All right, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward to item 12B, an ordinance granting a variation from section 2-10, Tech 2, table 2-6-2 for a gazebo, 19 West Jackson Street. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval of ZBA 26-08, a request for variations from section 6.10.2 residential accessory structures, Table 6-2, accessory structure regulations to permit a pergola with a maximum size of 250 square feet, subject to conditions.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Trustee Constados?
Thank you. I just have two questions. One, I was looking at the picture of the pergola, and it's kind of hard to tell, and was trying to read the description of it. Is the pergola, is it slotted so there's empty slots in between, or is it a solid roof?
It is a solid metal roof.
Okay, so then my only question would be, how will that work considering like when snow time comes and the weight and everything bearing on it? Will that be okay?
If this is permitted to move forward with the variation, our building department will be able to actually inspect and make sure that the deck is sufficient to support the pergola
To
and snow
support the
load.
weight. Okay,
Yeah.
that was my only concern on that. Thank you so much.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to 12C, ordinance, an ordinance granting a variation from section 14, TAC 1, TAC 9 to install a patio in front of yard at 1031 South Summit Avenue. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval of ZBA 26-13, a request for variations from section 14.1.9 setbacks to permit a patio in the front yard, subject to conditions.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, 12D, ordinance, an ordinance granting approval of a special use permit for planned unit development at 5 West Park Boulevard. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval of ZBA-26-11, a special use permit for a planned unit development to construct in addition to and renovate an existing building to establish a restaurant with waivers to section 4.4.2 for impervious coverage and a facade transparency, section 4.5.5 for blank walls, section 4.6.2 for parapet, wall height, and section 7.2 for minimum parking ratios for the property commonly known as 5 West Park Boulevard, subject to conditions.
Do I have a motion for the ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar. Okay, I'm going to open it up for discussion before we do. I just want to say that this is exactly the type of development that we are needing here in Villa Park. Going through the ZBA process, we learned that this is if approved tonight, that this is something that looks to be accomplished by next spring. These are exactly how we start with economic development in these types of areas. Very excited for this. If it passes, the plans that you submitted are excellent, and if approved tonight, I can't wait to see this project get underway. Trustee Constados.
Thank you. I too just wanted to say I'm super excited for this project. That area can use some attention, and I feel that the plans that were submitted are going to blend wonderfully with the Sturley that's there in the new apartment buildings as well. And we'll just make that whole entire corner look great. I also look forward to the food that's going to be coming, because I know you did share the menu, so that's exciting as well. So I will be voting yes for this, and I'm excited for this development as well.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome.
Congratulations.
All right, moving forward to item 13A, resolution, a resolution approving an engineering agreement with Engineering Resource Associate Incorporated of Warrenville, Illinois for the preliminary and design engineering for the 2027 MFT resurfacing project in an amount not to exceed $67,967. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following resolution would authorize the village manager to enter into an engineering services agreement with Engineering Resources Associated Incorporated of Warrenville, Illinois, for preliminary and design engineering of the 2027 MFT resurfacing project in an amount not to exceed $67,967. The 2027 MFT resurfacing project proposes roadway and sidewalk improvements to Terrace Street from Addison Road to Westmore Avenue, Terrace Street from Westmore Avenue to Mission Avenue, Terrace Street from Mission Avenue to cul-de-sac west of Lincoln Avenue, Mission Avenue from Pleasant Avenue to Terrace Street, and Lincoln Avenue from Pleasant Avenue to Terrace Street.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Sabri, is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward with 13B, resolution, a resolution approving an engineering agreement with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly Incorporated of Aurora, Illinois for the preliminary and design engineering for the Twin Lakes Water Main Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $43,300. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following resolution would authorize the village president to enter into an engineering services agreement with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly Incorporated of Aurora, Illinois, for preliminary and design engineering of the Twin Lakes Water Main Improvement Project in an amount not to exceed $43,300. The Twin Lakes Water Main Improvement Project proposes to replace the existing failed 8-inch water main on the Princeton Avenue public right-of-way between Wildfire Drive and Belden Avenue with approximately 900 feet of a new 8-inch water main.
Excellent, thank you. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
I will second that.
Trustee Sabri, is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along, item 13C, a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering agreement with Collins Engineering Incorporated of Chicago, Illinois, for the Cornell Avenue Reservoir Rehabilitation Bid Document Preparation in the amount not to exceed $21,000. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution authorizes the village president to execute an agreement with Collins Engineers Incorporated for engineering services related to the preparation of bid documents for the rehabilitation of the Cornell Avenue Reservoir located near Cornell Avenue and Reardon Road in the amount of $21,000. The project will prepare bid-ready plans, technical specifications, and contract documents for the rehabilitation of the reservoir, allowing the village to publicly solicit bids for the construction phase.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to item 13D, a resolution approving an engineering agreement with RJN Group Incorporated of Downers Grove, Illinois, for the design engineering for the 2026 sanitary manhole rehabilitation project in an amount not to exceed $28,600. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following resolution would authorize the village manager to enter into an engineering services agreement with RJN Group Incorporated, Downers Grove, Illinois, for design engineering of the 2026 sanitary manhole rehabilitation project in an amount not to exceed $28,600. The 2026 sanitary manhole rehabilitation project proposes the rehabilitation to approximately 50 sanitary manholes in North Villa from the UPRR to the northern limits of the village.
Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Sabri, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Constados, thank you. Is there any discussion? Trustee Kumar?
So they're fixing the 50 manholes, what, from the train station all the way to Target? What is the?
Manager Rivas.
If I could defer to Assistant Village Manager Mike Ware, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This is to rehabilitate manholes, line them, or reconstruct them, depending on what they need. So in 23-24, we had our sanitary sewer master plan updated. And so these are like critical manholes that were identified in that plan as we're trying to go back through and do some preventative maintenance on sealing those up and help reduce the amount of inflow and infiltration. So it's a varied number of manholes, of approximately 50, but it's all based on the prior inspections that were performed as part of that master study update.
You still have the floor.
Yeah, is that going to help our flooding remediation in that area? I know even the past storm, there was a lot of flooding on that side of Villa Park.
What this will help probably do is seal up the manholes so we don't run as much in our infiltration of the groundwater coming in through our manholes. We've lined a lot of our sewers, but this is hopefully to help reduce that amount so we don't have as much backup in sewers during heavy rain events.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to 13E, a resolution approving the change of the Village of Villa Park's authorized depository from ICD Securities Incorporated to Wintrust Bank N.A. and authorizing bank signatories. Manager Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution authorizes the village president to approve the change of the Village of Villa Park's authorized depository from ICD Securities Incorporated to Wintrust Bank N.A. and authorizes the appropriate village officials as signatories on the new accounts. The change will allow the village to transfer its existing investments consisting of 2 certificates of deposit and a money market account to a local financial institution while maintaining competitive investment returns and improving customer service.
Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Trustee Constados.
All right, I'm gonna put myself on the line here. Can somebody explain that a little bit more to me? Because I'm really confused. Just like what it actually 100% is.
Manager Rivas.
About the process that we're performing, we're basically moving 2 CDs and a money market, was that it, Finance Director Micah? From a corporation that's in Arizona, from what you had stated, and we're moving it to a local bank in our area.
Okay, so the only thing that's changing is we're going from this bank to that bank. Everything else is remaining the same?
Correct. Director Micah, if you have any
Somewhat.
additional-
So ICD Securities used to be a local institution, but they've moved away years ago. I actually had a conversation with the police chief that the police pension fund used to invest monies with them. However, they've moved out, and our representative is out of state in Arizona. And she's the only contact person. So when we have these CDs with her, when I first came on board last year, it was, hey, your CDs came due, you need to auto-renew. And we didn't have really a choice, and she was pushing for an 18-month or 24-month renewal process. At the time, since I was new, we just went ahead with it, rolled with it. Now these CDs have come to fruition. We would like it to be just a 12-month because I don't want to tie the village's investments any longer than that in the moment, especially per the investment policy. So with that, she continuously strong arms us, in my opinion, to do something beyond 12 months, always gives us 18-month or 24-month interest rates. So staff and I have sat down and kind of looked at that. We're at the point now that those CDs have come due. We instructed not to roll those over, to put them in the money market account, and right now they're just sitting, if you will. So the idea is to bring them locally, because I don't like the fact that I can't just call and talk to anybody. I'm stuck with this one gal, so to bring it back locally. We have a list of in our investment policy, and I'm not even clear that this is the investment policy that this board has adopted, so I'm going off of a 2015 issue. We're trying to research to find out if that's the one that the board passed. But at the end of the day, even though it says on here that we have a list of banks that we do business with, which we have a list of those banks that we have locally, we were looking to add another bank on there. And Wintrust, even though it's not in Villa Park, it's in Elmhurst, they're also the financial institution that went ahead for the debt certificates that we just issued, or that issued on our behalf, and gave us a competitive rates on the 3 squad car vehicles as well as the dump truck. And so what we were looking to do is, I wanted to fine-tune the investment policy, but I was looking to get away from that financial institution, if you will, and bring the monies back here locally. rather than taking the monies that we have right now and just transferring it into one of our current existing banks and then taking it and moving it again to try to keep it separately, I was looking to do it as one transition, providing that Wintrust is still competitive with their interest rate and a 12-month CD, same terms that it was with ICD.
Okay, and then, I don't know, there was a comment made about, from a resident about the people that are on there. Can we just explain how that works?
Attorney Morton?
Just for the residents to understand.
Sure.
As well as myself.
Yes, there's no issue with the finance director / treasurer, village manager, and village president all being signatories. That makes the most sense. That's what's currently happening, and that's the way you have checks and balances, and you make sure that there are people of authority to sign if someone else isn't.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Cordova?
So our current banking authority is not changing with the 3 signatories?
As I understand it, those are the current 3?
And it's, right now is the 3? Sorry.
Sorry. Yes, so we're the only 3 that are supposed to sign on any financial documents on behalf of the village.
Sorry, thank you.
Good.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to item 13F, resolution for remote attendance for special meetings. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar. Is there any discussion? Trustee Constados.
Thank you. I know there was a comment or two made about this resolution and certain residents or resident stating that it was being made to accommodate one of the trustees up here. And I kind of take a little bit of offense to that. We're moving in times, and we are all human beings sitting up here. We have regular lives just like everybody out there. We have jobs, we have family matters, we have people that pass away, all sorts of circumstances that pop up. And to implement this is by no means, and I want to emphasize that, by no means just to accommodate one of the trustees up here. It's to accommodate all of us. President Patrick recently had his father pass away. I think Trustee Kozar travels for his job as well. We all have situations. So this is to accommodate us should a situation arise, to give everybody up here the opportunity to know what's being discussed and be a part of that. So I just wanted to emphasize that and put that out there because I know that there's so much talk on social media and so much information that is false. And it's important that residents know the absolute truth. So that's really all I wanted to say on behalf of that. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
This way.
Trustee Kozar?
I think the key point of this remote policy is that it's just for special meetings. It's not for your regular meetings that have been scheduled a year in advance. It's only when a meeting pops up that isn't scheduled that may interfere with your work schedule, and there's a couple other exceptions that are pursuant to Illinois law. So that would be the only reason that you would have a remote policy to it, special meetings.
And I will also add that had we a policy in place like this, I may have very well had the opportunity to attend the meetings that I was absent for. I think going off of what Trustee Constados had mentioned earlier is that this is not just for one person, this is for all of us to accommodate us. Any other further discussion? Trustee Sabri.
My concern is only for the special meeting. Sometime we may have to go to executive session, and then certain discussion, they need to be held in person. I know we can do remote calling in. A lot of businesses are being held nowadays with the remote Zoom in, but I believe for a special meeting and this type of business, we should be present, making decision for our residents.
Trustee Sabri, might I ask, you mentioned about executive session. What is your concern about remote attendance via, for executive session?
Any discussion we discussed, reference to, this is just a special meeting, it could be anything, could be litigation, could be whatever we're discussing.
What is?
It need to be in person.
But what is your apprehension for not allowing a Zoom in executive session?
This is not a discussion for debate, this is just my concern, and I just, I said my piece.
I'm not debating, I'm asking about your concern to clarify, because we have all expressed up here reasons why this would be a valid item to have in there. So if you're reluctant to say why you oppose going into executive session with Zoom, that's what I'm curious about.
I have no comment on that right now, unless we can call the question.
Attorney, well, we got Attorney Morton.
Trustee, may I add clarification before the call for question?
Yes, but this is just a clarification for if the business need to be held in person, this is what we're discussing. So why we only saying this is for the special meeting only? Why we don't have it for all other meetings? Why only special meetings?
If I may offer clarification on your first point about closed session in remote attendance, there is a provision in this policy that still requires a vote to allow someone to participate when you go into closed session. So if the board does not feel comfortable with someone remotely participating in executive session, you still have the ability to decide against that via this policy. As to your other question about why only regular meetings, it was suggested at the last meeting, or not, why not regular meetings? It was suggested at the last meeting to change it to special meetings, so that's what we drafted. You could always make a motion to change that if you want.
Trustee Cordova?
I go back and forth on this one. I just recently recertified this certification called High Trust, and it has to do a lot with data and data integrity, where I can't be on meetings with people in the room if I'm remote. There's a whole lot of things, and I get that piece, but I think that we're covered off with being able to vote on if a person will go into a room. There's a lot of circumstances, right? If you're in a busy hall or at a hotel in a lobby, like, I wouldn't want that person to go into closed session. But if you're at home, resting, whatever it would be, I'd be fine with that. But I think this does cover off on a lot of the issues. So I'm in favor of this. I think it's okay.
I will also say that I think as responsible elected officials, that it is our duty to make sure that our environments surrounding us are safe and free of distractions because of the importance of what a special meeting should represent. I believe also, going back to Attorney Morton's discussion about, ultimately it comes back to the board for a vote whether or not to allow that person to participate. If you know or have any information that would lead you to believe that that meeting place of that trustee tuning in remotely on Zoom is not safe or not appropriate, you have that right to speak up during that vote. Trustee Constados?
Thank you. I would like to just agree with you. I mean, come on, we're all adults up here. I mean, we know when you should and shouldn't do a remote meeting. I mean, nobody's going to try to remote meeting in a restaurant, or I think we would all have enough common sense on when we should do a remote meeting, you know what I mean? So I think that giving each other a little bit more respect for that is needed. I mean, I'm going to sit here and say I trust you guys to have good judgment, I would expect the same from everybody else on my part. So.
Trustee Kumar?
I believe you should be there for the meeting, and I'll tell you, the 3 conditions, one involves the workplace. And it becomes very easy for people, some people who have flexibility like me, I could schedule things purposely if it was me, so I can't be at the meeting and it makes it convenient for me to be at the remote meeting. I don't want that happening. So I could do that myself. I'm assuming some other trustees can do that. I would rather have it set in stone that we just don't allow remote attendance at this point, because as I said, there's the ordinance at the state level was written a while back that allowed the remote meetings for 3 special causes. One is family emergency, sickness. Those are, somewhat provable. The third is work reasons. Now, work reasons depends on the job, actually, and the job can be very different for different people. Like, I can personally say if I did not want to attend a meeting in person, then I could put my job in the way of that. I have that ability. So that's my problem here with this particular ordinance, and I think we should just keep the resolution. I'm going to vote no for that reason. I'm just going to put it out there.
I also think it's important to state that what we decide up here as a board collectively doesn't just affect us now, but it affects future boards and future people up here, that when we are no longer in this role gives them that opportunity as well. So I just want to put that out there. Trustee Constados.
Thank you. In reference to what Trustee Kumar said, I disagree. When we're talking about our meetings that are already scheduled for all of us to know when it is one thing. But when we get a special meeting sprung up out of nowhere, and that can happen just by 2 trustees asking for that, and then expecting somebody to not attend their job or not attend somebody's funeral or whatever the case may be, because they can't remotely tag in, I think is not right. These are not meetings that are on the schedule. These are meetings that are just popping up because somebody on the dais thinks that it's important to have this right now. And I just don't think that that's fair. It only takes 2 people up here to request a special meeting, and those 2 people then are in charge of the rest of everybody else's life that day on whether or not we're picking and choosing. If there's something, an emergency or something going on and you can't come to that meeting, we didn't know ahead of time. And now we have no say-so, we have no voice, we have no information. And then to also take it a step further, be able to request to go into an executive session to top it off, and or try to make decisions based off of some of the panel not being here, where we sit here and say that we're going to allow everybody to be heard or allow everybody to have the same information before we make decisions, in my opinion, is ignorant. And that's just, I don't think it's right. I don't think 2 people should be able to make a special meeting and or a special executive session to make decisions and not allow the rest of us to be able to remotely tag into that without knowing that that meeting was existing ahead of time. And that's just my take, so I will be voting yes for this policy.
Trustee Kozar, would you like an opportunity to speak before I call on Trustee Kumar for her second time?
No.
Okay, Trustee Kumar?
We've had 5 special meetings since the new board started. And surprisingly, 4 of those, nobody had a problem making it to. It's the 5th that was the real problem. And that calls into a question a lot for me, right? All 4 of them, many of the trustees, we came. We didn't complain that we needed remote attendance. It wasn't a requirement. It wasn't something. But this 5th one, for some reason, is a huge issue. Now, is the issue with the 2 trustees? Because that happened all of the other 4 times, or the president called the meeting, or is the issue with this particular meeting? And that is my problem here. it is not consistent. We've had 5 meetings. In the last administration, there was 1 special meeting. In the current administration, there were 5 special meetings, which is 40% of those, 80% of those, there was no discussion of remote attendance. Why is this such a concern at this point? And why wasn't it a concern previously? I am very confused at the motion here, and I will be voting no, because I think it's because this is a concern to some of the trustees and not others of the trustees. It's my truth. And I'm fine generally, but why is the remote attendance at this point called into question and not the so many other times that we had these special meetings?
Trustee Kumar, I think you bring up a good point, and I think that warrants discussion on a revision to our policy regarding reasons for calling a special meeting and specifying what exactly a special meeting is and what it should be called for. Because ultimately, the special meeting that was called on the 29th, ultimately, I believe, had nothing to do with an emergency or any request for a special meeting at all. So that's why I think, maybe you're right. Maybe we should revise our policy regarding the reasons for when a board member or 2 board members could call a special meeting. Trustee Constados.
Thank you. I would like to say to sit there and state that maybe the problem is with the last meeting and the people who requested it is ridiculous. It just so happens that those days, everybody was available. I mean, nobody knows when they're going to be available or not available in the future. And if somebody does, hey, tell me what my schedule looks like, please, so I can just pan things out a little bit better. When a special meeting comes up, it just comes up. So maybe it's coincidence nobody had things going on that day. But when you're saying, I want a meeting on this day, and people can't make it, they just can't make it. But to sit there and state that it's because certain people asked for that meeting, or the reasoning for that meeting, and why wasn't it questioned previously? I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I can honestly sit here and say that, no, I had plans that day. I canceled my plans to come in and to make it. I wasn't happy about it, but I was coming into a meeting that I myself was looking at the agenda going, something on this doesn't look like it's such an emergency to me, till I got here, and then next thing I know, we're going into an executive session, and then my light bulb went on. So I think that to not allow everybody that opportunity is not fair. But again, that's just my opinion.
Trustee Kozar?
Did you? Yeah.
I didn't realize.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
You haven't spoken. Go for it.
Trustee Cordova?
If Attorney Ryan Morton can explain the law and how, the Illinois law and how special meetings could change and what we can do as a municipality to change those. I believe the only thing we can change is the amount of trustees or people that call that special meeting. Is that correct?
To be able to call a special meeting, I would have to see if there's any exception. I haven't been faced with that question before. But yes, in general, there is a statutory right to be able to call a special meeting. So as a non-home rule entity, to adjust what those requirements are, it might have to walk a fine line where it's not reducing what's permitted under state law. And I'm not sure, sitting here right now, whether that is permissible, but I can look into that.
Please do.
Trustee Kozar?
So, case in point, we had 1 special meeting in the last 4 years, and now we have, 5 or 6 special meetings? All the more reason to make certain accommodations, because it seems like it's happening all the time. And then secondly, I still haven't been able to hear what's happened in that executive session. That audio has not been made available to me as a trustee. If I could have zoomed in, I would have known what happened in there. So, all the more reason. I mean, it just seems like nonsense to be arguing against special accommodations for a special meeting. We should have special accommodations for a special meeting. If it's special, if it's not normal, nothing is normal. We have to give access. That's what we're sitting up here for, is to have access and be able to comprehend and understand what's going on and why. You're talking about previous meetings. The trustee was talking about previous meetings. I argue that that was a meeting of ambush, knowing that certain trustees weren't available, and that's why they wanted to have this. And I put it in quotes. Well, it's not in quotes. It is a special meeting, not an emergency meeting, but a special one. You know, we need to, if trustees don't have the decency and the honor to do it themselves, we have to legislate it. And that's what we're doing here, is we're making sure that everybody has access if you're going to do something unusual and special. Can I call the vote?
Call the question.
Call the question?
Got to call the question. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Constados, okay. Do we have to vote on call the question?
Voting on call the question.
Okay, a vote for call the question. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
No.
Trustee Sabri?
No.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. More discussion? More discussion?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Trustees that voted no, you voted not to call the question to vote on this, so what's the further discussion?
Oh, for
Trustee
me, just
Cordova?
clarification on the rules of calling a special meeting from Attorney Morton. Like I said earlier, I'm okay with this, but I want to know what the rules are. I said no.
Which means you want to talk more about it.
Oh, that's what I'm asking, yeah, like.
So
I'm
you
okay
want
with
to talk
saying-
about it right
No,
now?
I'm-
Answer now.
So I'm okay with tabling this until we get an answer.
Are you making a motion to
Oh,
table?
I'll make a motion to table this to get the answer from you.
To when?
Our next meeting.
Okay, I have a motion to table this to our next meeting. This is 13F. Do I have a second? Trustee Kumar,
I will
seconds?
second that.
Is there any discussion? Trustee Kozar?
Yeah. Does, what is this? 13F have anything in there to do with the requirement, qualifications, specifications of calling a special meeting?
May I?
Please do.
I would say that since the language of the policy now is limited just to special meetings, it calls into question then what are the qualifications for having a special meeting? And I could recite to you the requirements currently in your code for calling a special meeting, but I believe Trustee Cordova's question is to what extent could those requirements change, which in my interpretation then would influence the likelihood or the possibility of being able to remotely attend based on how restrictive are special meetings.
Okay.
Just clarification.
Trustee Constados?
I would actually like to hear what it says right now, like what the current states, if you don't mind.
The current code states that to call a special meeting, and I'm pulling it up now, but I'll speak from memory as I do that either the village president can call a special meeting or 3 trustees can call a special meeting. Either way, it has to be in writing and delivered to the clerk. The clerk then prepares the agenda and distributes it to all board members in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. There is no restriction that I'm aware of in your code right now as to what the requirements in terms of what the topic would be for the special meeting. It could be any lawful purpose.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion to table this until our next meeting by trustee Cordova and seconded by trustee Kumar. No other discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Constados.
No.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving along. 13G, a resolution directing the village clerk to provide the village president access to review a copy of the audio recording of the June 29th, 2026 executive session meeting. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
I will make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Wait,
There is discussion.
yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Is the clerk at the wedding of his son right now? Is that something I've heard?
I don't know what you've heard, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was his absence planned. Did you know he was gonna be absent?
I don't know what the clerk does on his daily routines. He doesn't even respond to my emails about wanting to see these executive session recordings. And if we want to be specific, I sent multiple emails to his account, which could be FOIA'd, by the way. And then also, too, shortly thereafter, he attended a hearing here for an adjudication, which he spoke as a witness as his, in official capacity as village clerk with his office back there. So I don't know what the village clerk is up to or what his schedule looks like. I just know he is not here and he's not allowing me access to something that I'm entitled to. Trustee Cordova.
Just, let's call it a question. Just vote. Everyone should have access to it.
Okay, I agree with you. I got a motion for call to question. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
It can't be.
Oh, it can't be, that's right. Okay. Roll call vote, please. Call to question?
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, call to question now, 13G. I have a motion by trustee Constados, and seconded by trustee Kozar. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri.
No.
No.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving along. Item 14, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Okay, seeing none, moving along to item 15, new business. 15A, motion to direct staff to codify a comprehensive public health and neighborhood preservation. Trustee Constados.
We're moving on to new business, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So under new business, 15A, motion to direct staff to codify a comprehensive public health and neighborhood preservation program, including the Village Rodent Reduction Initiative Program. Do I have a motion to direct staff?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Kozar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Constados.
Yes.
Trustee Sabri.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving along, new business 15B, food truck ordinance, a summary of staff research. Item for discussion prior to presentation of draft ordinance permitting the operation of food trucks within the village. Do I have a motion for the food truck ordinance?
I will make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion?
Summary from staff.
Oh, I apologize. So this is not an actual ordinance, it's just a summary of staff. So is there any discussion? Manager Rivas.
I was just going to say, this was well done by the staff at Community and Economic Development. I just wanted to ask and reach out to Director Nolan if there's anything else you wanted to add to the research.
No, just wanted to make sure you all knew that we're trying to make progress on this, but we didn't want to move straight to ordinance without giving you guys an opportunity to review kind of where staff is headed. This is based on a survey of surrounding communities and best practices, so if you disagree with any of the direction in that memo, it doesn't necessarily have to be in this form, but please let me know. But otherwise, we're basically going to take this memo and translate it into an ordinance for, I don't know if we get it into the next agenda, but August for sure.
Excellent, thank you. Trustee Kumar.
I'd like to add to new business the third lane on Ardmore between St. Charles and the train tracks.
I'm okay. It's in here.
Oh, I don't believe we are done with the.
Did you have a question, Trustee Cordova?
Yeah. Trustee Kumar, we are still discussing the food truck ordinance here before
Okay.
we move on to your addition
Okay,
of new
that's fine.
business. Is there any other discussion?
No, I
Trustee Cordova?
I did, and then I just read the food truck courts portion. I kind of skimmed this earlier, but special events, opportunity to have big ones. So I'm good with this.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
No.
Okay. Trustee Kumar, you were making a suggestion?
I mean, I thought this only for discussion only, and then the ordinance is coming back, I assume. Okay. So, yeah, the issue I did have a residence. I grew up in that area. I really know the importance of the third lane. Actually, when I was a kid was when that third lane was put in, and I was there typing the letter for that third lane. So it's something I know how important it is in that area for safety, and it prevents a lot of older people from getting into crashes. So I think keeping that third lane instead of the bike lanes or figuring out another strategy is important in that corner. Just clarity as we go towards the train station on Ardmore. That's it. I want to add that to new business.
Okay. Trustee Constados?
Thank you. I have a couple of things. First thing I would like to bring to attention is panhandling in Villa Park. It's been something that's been going on for quite some time. There's a lot of talk about it on Facebook. There's particular people who are constantly panhandling. And I want to know if we can discuss some sort of an ordinance where we may be able to at least come up with like some verbiage where if we can legally do it, and this would be up to council to look into if they're obstructing traffic, if there is some aggressive behavior, or if the panhandler is threatening people in any way, shape, or form. I know that I read some things where we might be able to, or if we could, restrict it from being done around ATMs, banks, or currency exchanges. Is there anything we could put into play, and can we look into it, that would just protect the residents and the panhandlers as well from circumstances? I know that it states that, I believe, the state of Illinois, it is legal to panhandle. However, I believe they're not allowed to come off of the curb and/or walk in traffic, and I thought it said something about 3 feet within a vehicle. I could be wrong. But If we could look into what the state law is about that, and if there's any way we can make some additions to our town, that would be great. So I'm requesting that that be put under new business. My other thing for new business is, and I'm going to mention it again, the retirement of our 2 police officers. And I know that Chief Kubish had sent out an email asking for a consensus, and unfortunately, didn't get enough answers back, otherwise we'd be able to move on from this point. So my question is to council, is this something we can try to give him a consensus today so he can get started? Or do we have to wait till the 27th, which is another couple weeks, which is prolonging the process even more? This is a lengthy process to begin with, and I think that we need to start this as soon as possible. Unfortunately, not enough trustees responded to the email, but what can we do? Is there anything we can do to move forward quicker, to give some direction to Chief Kubish to move forward with this, if this is what the board's direction is?
Attorney Morton.
For clarification, the Police and Fire Commission would be the ones to run the, decisions, and I don't know how updated the list is currently. Chief Kubish could speak to that.
Yes, the police and fire commissions are, commissioners are on board. Hello?
Nope.
Okay, so the police and fire board commissions are on board. At this point, I just need the approval based on the issue of the money to hire them. Like I said, I spoke to the manager previously, and I think that it makes economic sense to hire somebody in advance, because once they're gone, and I was hoping, like the fire chief, when he sent out the consensus, he got a consensus and he was able to move forward. But obviously, as we progress to today, that's where we are right now, which obviously trustee Constados brought it up, which is great.
So to clear, thank you, Chief. So because they control the process itself, as Chief mentioned, all they need the authority for the board is for the purse strings, that they have the money to go forward. And since this is for the 2027 year planned, that budget hasn't come before the board yet. If this was for 2026 and it was already baked into your budget that you approved, then you wouldn't need to give special approval because it's already in the budget and the police commission could just go forward with it. Since it would be spending money, though, that is something that would need to come forward as its own ordinance in a future meeting.
May I ask then, technically, though, it is in the budget because we have 2 people already employed, correct? So it would just be replacing the 2. So technically, the 2 that are retiring are already in the budget of payroll. I'm just asking.
Sure, absolutely. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it, though. These new hires would not be starting until 27?
No, the situation is this. We have 2 retirees, one's leaving in January, one is leaving somewhere in mid-2027. My request is to have the ability to hire new people to replace them now, which the academy starts in 4 weeks, so that they can be hired, go through the training process, go through the FTO process, which takes anywhere from 10 to 11 months. So in theory, even if we hired them this upcoming week, by the time they were trained and ready to go, these other people would already be gone. We're trying to play a forward motion game so that we don't have these shortages where there's order outs and the cost of overtime.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chief, but those new officers, they would be compensated during that initial hire period, while the retiring officers are also still being compensated, correct?
Correct. They would be.
Okay, sorry.
They would be hired, as soon as I was able to get approval, whether it be today, next week, 2 weeks from now, and we would be compensating them while they're in the schooling process, yes, correct.
In which case,
2026 budget, like today.
Director Micah, if you have thoughts on this, I believe then an amendment to the budget would be necessary if the money isn't currently in your fund to use for those extra salaries.
Correct.
So you would need another amendment to the budget on the agenda, which can be brought forward at the next meeting.
Okay.
With just that one line item, unless there's anything else that
Then
needed to
I'm
be
going to
adjusted.
request that that be put on new business for the next meeting.
So can I ask a question? So in theory, then, what is the reason, what is the consensus vote of the email? What does that actually do? So if, I know 3 trustees responded, if 4 trustees would have responded, what would that have meant in the overall picture as far as the process on my end would go?
When you're talking about a consensus, you're talking about this week, the email?
As I sent an email last week, mirroring basically what the fire department did, saying that we would like permission to hire X amount of employees in advance based on these circumstances. The memo dictates that. So if I would have gotten the amount of votes needed, being 4, to
It
move-
could have been placed on this agenda then.
So one thing that I want to interrupt really quick is that I understand your concern, Chief, is that if we wait 2 more weeks, we're getting closer to that August deadline, which is preparation for the candidates that you might have in mind, ready to give the approval or the thumbs up to go. So this actually might, being that it's a timely issue, might be a great subject for a special meeting. Okay, for the timeliness of this. Right now, we can take a general consensus up here, that's for sure, but to amend the budget, that will have to come back to a vote at a meeting, whether that's a regularly stated meeting or a special meeting. That's up to the board.
Okay.
All right, so what I would like to do right now is take a general consensus of this board as to whether or not they would approve an amendment to the 2027 budget to allow the Police and Fire Commission, along with our police chief, to hire 2 new candidates to get that process started, being that August's academy is coming. And before I do that too, Chief, when's the next academy?
That would be January 2027, which would mean that we would have 2 vacancies, probably most of the entire year of 2027. And like I indicated before, the salary of a new officer is about $46 an hour versus a new officer, which would be 60 some odd dollars. At overtime rate, it's about $97 an hour.
And again, including state mandated trading and all of those other things, how long does it take to get a new recruit through the academy and up to speed?
About 10 months, and, you know, and the bottom line is that I'm trying to get out of the practice, which the fire department is experiencing, spending almost $2,000 a day trying to fill open shifts, correct? So that's what we're trying to get out of, and that's what the manager and I spoke about, is that we're trying to get ahead of that curve so that we can use our money a little bit more wisely.
Thank you.
That makes sense.
Attorney Morton.
Just to clarify, the consensus you're requesting is a consensus to place this on the agenda for the next meeting, correct? To place a budget amendment on the agenda to increase the budget for the police to allow for the hiring of these 2 officers. You're not asking the board to support the hiring of 2 officers right now, just a motion to put that on the agenda for the next meeting, correct?
Are you asking me a question?
No, I'm asking President Patrick. He suggested.
Oh, I apologize. I thought I saw this going on here. So what I would do is I would actually first want a consensus from this board as to whether or not this is something that they would support, and then a consensus as to, or even a potential motion to put this on our next stated meeting and/or a special meeting if necessary. Okay, so can you take a consensus by this board as to whether or not they support the amendment to the budget for 2027?
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have that consensus. Now we could entertain a motion.
I will make that motion.
What is the motion?
What is the motion? The motion is to put an amendment for the budget for 2026 on the next schedule for the 27th to approve 2 more officers to be hired by Chief Kubish immediately.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Trustee Constados, seconded by Trustee Kozar. Is there any discussion? One question that I have for you, Chief, is this a reasonable amount of time, 2 weeks, to make a decision to get candidates ready?
Well, we're already in the process because we had that recent retirement, Officer Strokis. So we do have viable candidates. But we paused everything when we received the memo about the freeze of the budget. So it's going to be tight, yeah. I mean, because if you send somebody, you have to offer them a conditional offer, which I get from the F&P. So if I offer somebody conditional and they go to the psychiatry or psychologist and they fail, then we have to start over again. And it's kind of a process, but like I said, we'll figure it out because that's what we do.
So my question to Attorney Morton is, right now, we have a motion to place this on our next stated meeting agenda. If between now and then, we have a majority of the board that think that this is of a timely nature, are we able to put this on a special meeting agenda to speed that process up?
You could, if necessary.
Okay, thank you. All right, Trustee Kozar.
Yeah, Chief Kubish, I apologize. I didn't respond to your email. I didn't realize that, as I read the email, I didn't understand that you needed 4 trustees to respond back so that it could be on the agenda here. In the last week, I got 35 different emails. There just wasn't anything in here that jumped out that said that it had to be done by the time that agenda came out. So, had I have known, I absolutely would have been that 4th, and you would have been on here. I completely support what you're doing, your department, hiring of new officers. So I apologize for that.
I've never done a motion or a consensus vote, so.
Yeah, no, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
putting
I'm
that on
just-
you. I'm just explaining why you didn't get a response
No, I
back from me.
appreciate that, thank you.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other new business? Trustee Constados.
Sorry again. Another thing I wanted to talk about was possibly making some districts within the village while using our comprehensive plan to help us better look at what type of businesses are where according to the comprehensive plan and where we're going as far as locations. I also think that it might help with people who are bringing businesses in that want to invest. It would also, when you bring a business in and to invest, it's a lot of money. And so when people are coming in to invest, if, let's say, they want to do a barber shop, they're obviously not going to want to put their barber shop next to 4 other barber shops. So maybe we could start to look at our comprehensive plan and pan out what each area looks like on that plan and start planning accordingly. I don't know if we would call them districts technically or whatever, but I know I had mentioned it slightly to you at one point, so I'd like to engage in some conversation about that. And then the only other thing I have is I hate to say it again, but the parental leave program, please and thank you. I've been asking about that for the last few meetings, so I would like to say if we're done having special meetings, could I please finally get this on the agenda? But if we have to have a special meeting to accommodate our police department, of course, I'm okay with that. But I really, really think that we need to revisit this and come up with a plan that may be better suited.
2 comments really quick is regarding your earlier discussion about the districts being broken up throughout the village. I believe that is something that we can potentially discuss moving forward for organizational sake and moving forward with being able to identify different sections of Villa Park in a district. So I believe that those are things that we can bring up for sure. Secondly, the parental leave program, as I do believe that that is going to be coming up in our next agenda. Manager Rivas?
If I may, I promise, July 27th, you can book it. It'll be on
Okay.
the agenda, and we will have a discussion on it.
It's a date, thank you. Appreciate that. And that is all I have.
Okay. Trustee Kumar?
Quickly, kind of piggybacking off of that statement with the business districts, I did have a conversation at one point about the business development districts and as a possibility in some areas of Villa Park as a stimulus. And so I would like staff to kind of just look into that as where that possibility can occur. And that can maybe spearhead some tax revenue and other things that we didn't have before. So that's something I would really appreciate looking into, talking about business districts in general. And I have brought up the dog park before that we're talking about. I also would like to bring that back. I guess that's old business because I already brought it up, but I would love to see what the plans are in that, maybe throw it to a commission to look at. And I'd like to address that as well.
Okay. Any other new business? Okay. Seeing none, we are going to go ahead and move forward. We do not have any village commission reports. Village clerk report?
None.
Okay. Moving along, item 18, village trustees report, starting to my left.
I actually have no report today.
Okay. Trustee Sabri?
Yes, I do have a report. July 4th parade, it was a success. I'd like to say thanks all the staff members, also Manager Rivas for putting this event way in advance, and we had multiple meetings. It was a very successful. Police Chief Todd Kubish, thank you for your support and taking care of the issues which arise. Also, our Sergeant Brian Ruby, there was an incident, as you know, that you took care of that right away, and even though the parade's supposed to start at 10, incident was there, everything went just fine, and there was no delay in the parade. Thank you for your coordination with that. Fire Chief, I know he was up pretty much most of the night because we had the thunderstorms way before, and he was on top of that, and matter of fact, and we traded some text messages about 4 a.m. see what's going on, how we're going to do that. So it was a team effort, and I also like to say thank you to the VFW, our commander J.B. Blackenshane. I know he likes to butcher some names here, and if I did it, I'm sorry. Also, the VFW staff, Karen, it takes a lot of effort. Our auxiliary volunteers, from the VFW, they spend days way before and a couple of days before the parade, they get together and make sure that everything goes smoothly. Al Stash, who did a wonderful job videotaping this thing, and of course the village residents, it was a great turnout. Even with the weather, we had a great small opportunity. We had a great window that everything went without a hitch. The sunshine was there, and we were able to provide a great parade. Walkers, I mean, I have heard so many good things about this parade because the timing was such. All our residents, they came out. It was no delay, like in the past, that everything was done really with the perfect timing. We appreciate you. We thank you. And this is what we're supposed to do for our residents. And I think we did a great job. Thanks again.
Trustee Constados?
Thank you. I have a couple things. Just to talk about the 4th of July parade, it was an amazing event. I enjoyed tossing candy to all the kids and seeing all the residents that came out. I would like to say a special thank you to George Bennis, who did, out of his own pocket, purchase 700 pounds, yes, 700 pounds of candy on his own that had nothing to do with the Village of Villa Park's candy contribution to pass out to all the kiddos. So thank you very much to him. Another thing I'd like to say is our resident that we have named Elizabeth Contry, I hope I pronounced that properly, she had sent an email to all of us and came up with what I think is an amazing idea. It's a fishing lure exchange house, and it's a wonderful idea and a clear example of a Villa Park resident who is trying to contribute to a positive impact in Villa Park. So I would like to thank her and make everybody kind of aware of it. I'm not quite sure where it's going yet, but I would like to show everybody kind of, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is kind of a picture of the fishing lure house that they built. And they built it to look similar to this home here. And what they are going to be doing is putting fishing lures in there, and people are welcome to go and take said fishing lures for fishing in Villa Park. And you can also leave some as well, so you can take and leave, kind of like the residents who have been doing the food pantries. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it placed somewhere at one of our parks where people fish. And I know that Director Howe is kind of, I think, working on that with Manager Rivas. So I just wanted to give a big thank you out to that resident. The only thing that I want to say is thank you to our Public Works staff and to all of our staff for all the time during the holidays and the bad weather, for all that you guys have been doing and continue to still do with the cleanup. I want to also say thank you to the residents who have come to our staff's rescue on social media, where some comments are not so pleasant. And I think some residents need to understand that, you know, we faced 3 to 4 days of some really bad weather. And not only did it leave trees down and leaves everywhere and flooding, it caused residents major damages to their homes and whatnot. It was also a holiday. So just kind of remember in situations, give staff a little bit of grace. They were out 24/7 trying to clean up and take care of so many different topics at once. And they did the best they could, and in my opinion, they did a wonderful job. So I would like to say thank you very much to all of them. Hats off to you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Cordova.
No report tonight.
Trustee Kozar.
I'm looking forward to listening to the executive session minutes, not the minutes, but the actual recording that had to be voted in to be able to release today. And I don't understand why a certain trustee would vote against it, and silence speaks volumes, or at least delay speaks volumes. What is it that's so secretive about this? What was said in that executive session that these trustees have fought so hard to not allow other trustees to listen to? So stay tuned, because you all will find out.
All right, moving along. I have just a few things. First of all, I want to remind everybody, July 31st is your last opportunity to vote on a new name for the natural park that the Garden Village Commission set forth. If you want to participate, you can vote by going to our village website, and there will be a link on the front page on how you go ahead and vote for that, the naming of the park. And the cutoff for that is July 31st. I'm going to piggyback off of Trustee Constados a little bit regarding the fishing lure exchange program, which I think is a really great idea. One of the things that our current Green Commission is working on recycling fishing line for boxes at those locations as well. So I think once those discussions continue and we move forward with that, we'll have a fishing lure recycle program, or a fishing lure exchange program, and also fishing line recycling boxes at some of those locations. I think that's a nice addition to those areas. Lastly, too, or not lastly, but the 4th of July parade. This is not an easy event to put on. It takes a year's worth of planning ahead of time, what was happening. The village staff, the VFW, all have planned this a year in advance. And I think this year's 4th of July parade is the most people I've seen in attendance since I've been an elected official here in the Village of Villa Park. And what a great event, especially for our 250th anniversary. Wow. Thank you for everybody that showed up. Thank you to our residents for celebrating that with us as well. When you do plan for things like that, sometimes things happen and things come up, the unexpected. And I think the weather that we did have prior to that was something that nobody really expected, and the damage that came with that. And I also have to give a huge shout out to our Public Works Department, because you really kicked butt. Oh my gosh, you did it. Staying up till early morning hours and just completing that work and getting it done and making sure that 4th of July parade route was cleared so that way we could have that event. Outstanding job. Outstanding job to our Public Works Department. Keep up the great work. And for any residents that still have debris out there still waiting, is that we do have a small department. They are making their rounds and they will get them out there. So just bear with us. We are still recovering from that. But all in all, great job, Public Works. Outstanding. And lastly, I know that there's been a lot of negativity out there lately, and I want to end my comments on a good note and a good story. Unfortunately, recently, we had one of our commissioners, Joey DiTomaso, on our local Liquor Control Commission, have an unexpected and serious surgery that needed to take place, emergency surgery, in which he has been held up in a hospital for multiple days, in multiple hospitals as well, weeks, and unexpected to him. But one of our newest commissioners, Rhonda Coleman, to our Green Commission, it just went out of her way, and she went to some of the people at the St. A's, and they knitted him a blanket. They called it a prayer blanket. And they even took that blanket to be blessed by the priest at that church to give to Joey in his time of need when he's at the hospital like that. That's what Villa Park is about. Sticking up for one another, looking out for one another, and taking care of one another. And I also want to say, Rhonda Coleman, and to all the people from St. A's that made that prayer blanket for Joey, what an outstanding gesture. And I hope that this is what leads us moving forward, is that dedication to one another and looking out for one another. And lastly, Joey, if you're watching, I hope you heal fast. But that is all I have tonight. Thank you. Manager Rivas.
Thank you. Just a couple quick things. I also want to say thank you to Public Works, and here's something I think the citizens at home should know. We covered the entire town once, and at several locations a second time. We couldn't get to everywhere, because we also have to do the business of the day and move on to carry on with all the other things that are required of Public Works. What you'll find in other communities, that Public Works did more coverage and covered more streets than any other town in the area. You can fact check it. So what I want to say is our Public Works did a heck of a job throughout a very difficult time, in addition to helping prepare the streets for the parade. And during the parade, I walked it, and I heard several times, love the manager's minutes, that I do periodically. What I want to ask is, there's a topic you'd like us to discuss as a staff, because I'm not the only one who helps prepare those. If you have a topic, just email me, or you can reach out and call my office, and we'll see if we can get whatever information that you'd like to see in a manager's minute. And lastly, I just want to say, I heard and read two great reports. The Committee of the Whole report that Director Howe did, fantastic job. And then also the report on food trucks, fantastic information. So I thank staff once again for them also kicking butt in preparing these documents. And that is all I have.
I'd just like to say also that the manager's minutes has been a huge success. We're getting a lot of public reaction to that as well. So please take up Manager Rivas on his offer. If you have a subject out there that you would like talked about, or a manager's minute, send him an email. This is something that we haven't done before in the Village of Villa Park, and it's all about communicating with our residents and letting people know what's going on. So Manager Rivas, thank you for doing those. We're going to move along. We do have executive session tonight. We are going into executive session for two reasons. That would be 21B pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, as well as 21C pursuant to 5 LCS 120/2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. Do I have a motion to enter an executive session?
I will make that motion.
Trustee Constados, do I have a second?
Second?
Trustee Kozar, is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Constados?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar? Yes. Trustee Sabri?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. We will enter into executive session and most likely close out of that. Our next stated meeting is July 27th at 7 PM right here. Thank you.